A judge denies a request for mental exams of 12-year-olds in Medicaid transgender lawsuit. What brought this about?
So this is originally out of Florida. This was a case that challenged the state prohibiting Medicaid from covering gender affirming care for transgender people, which, I mean, we knew that was coming, that people were going to challenge that. And we're seeing some of the results of that as the case is happening right now. But two 12-year-olds are plaintiffs in this case. And the attorneys for the DeSantis administration asked to be able to perform mental examinations on these 12-year-olds because they wanted to discover whether or not they were truly gender dysphoric so that they did qualify for gender affirming procedures. Now, the judge denied that. U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle released a 2-page decision and basically, came right out and said, this is not going to happen. The decision noted that the state's motion identified an expert, Geeta Nangia, a South Carolina-based psychiatrist, that her qualifications as a psychiatrist who treats children and adolescents had no reference to addressing her as having experience with transgender youth. Her expert report, the decision said, not mentioned in the motion, says she has treated over 1,000 patients with gender dysphoria, but the report does not indicate how many of those patients, if any, she supported in their identified gender. So basically, you have a judge who's stepping in and say, okay, state, you want me to consider this expert to take two 12-year-olds, give them a mental examination, and yet you have not shown with any credibility that this individual has the capacity to interview, evaluate, and diagnose transgender youth, much less provide for their care in their identified gender. This judge deserves a medal of some kind. Basically is like, no, we're not doing this. The judge pointed out in a November 15 scheduling order in which he said that under court rules, the plaintiffs could have to undergo appropriate examinations, but no individual will be required to submit to an examination by a transgender denier or skeptic, because the current motion does not address whether Dr. Najia is a transgender denier or skeptic. This order denies the motion. Any renewed motion should address how many patients Dr. Nangia has supported in their identified gender. Any renewed motion should also address how any finding from an examination might affect a ruling on the controlling substantive issue of whether treatments at issue are experimental. I mean, basically, this judge looked at the DeSantis attorneys and said, get your shit straight. I already told you, don't bring any of this crap into my courtroom.